Hey everybody, this is Mr. Thompson from Crossroads Christian School. This is a video for all my second graders. I hope all of you are doing really well. I miss you and I wish we could go to our regular classroom days, but we're gonna have to make do. So I wanted to post this YouTube video for you guys, reading you and helping you, maybe giving you some clues and things like that, how you can better read these stories for the week and to help maybe answer the questions that I assigned for you at the end. So I'm going to be reading you the one on your schedule. If you look on your page on your schedule, this should be the one for Wednesday, okay? So it's going to start on page 5, paragraph 3, okay? And remember, paragraph is that big chunk of sentences together, right? So you should have done this one already, you should have done this one already. We're gonna start on the 3rd paragraph, okay? So we read that first and then it tells us what story to jump to learn a little more, right? So I'm gonna read it to you now so you can follow along with me, all right? So we are starting with the 3rd paragraph here, traveling through time, okay? So it says, the penny farthing or ordinary bike came about as men began to invent ways to make life better in America. Okay, so the bike, that's what it's going to talk about. The large front wheel, okay, if you see in the little picture right there, helped riders go faster. The larger the wheel, the faster and the farther the bike could travel. Okay, this form of transportation gave people the ability to go from place to place quickly or faster, right? Because not everybody maybe rode a horse everywhere they went, and perhaps at this time maybe the car wasn't really a big thing yet, okay? So people didn't have those kind of things to ride and to get to places fast. So somebody, maybe we'll find out who, came up with this kind of bike, okay, to help us go faster, right? You've been on your bike before and you can definitely go faster than somebody who's walking or maybe even somebody who's running, depending on how fast you're going. So after we read that little paragraph, that little starter, it says here in red, pedal to page 115. And that's what we're going to do. So let's all go to page 115. Okay. Here we go, almost there. Here we are. And it should look like this, if you can see it. Okay? So we see a picture of a girl right here holding up what looks like a little chalkboard, and we see the title of our story, and it's called Dorothy the Poet. All right, and we're going to read that together, okay? So follow along with me. Dorothy the Poet. Dorothy Aldous was a famous author who wrote many enjoyable children's poems. She grew up during an interesting time in America. When Dorothy was a child, she lived in the big city of Chicago, where many poor children worked in dirty factories, okay? And if you don't know, Chicago is a very big, famous city in Illinois, and that's another state. That's kind of on the other side of the United States, kind of on the east, but not on the coast. It's more inland, okay? Maybe you can look on a map with your mom and dad, find where Chicago is. So, the children whose parents were wealthy were able to go to school. At school, you did not have to bring pencils and paper, only a small chalkboard slate and a piece of chalk, okay? So they didn't have pencil and paper and things like that yet back in those days for school, right? You just had chalk and a chalkboard, okay? So when Dorothy wanted to play, she could play with toys that her parents bought from the store. She may have played with doll houses, with sleds, or teddy bears, okay? So if you notice, there's some big things maybe missing there that maybe you play with now in your time, but Dorothy didn't play with back in her time, right? There were no tablets, there were no computers, no iPhones, things like that, right? Those things hadn't been invented yet. Okay, let's go to the next page. It says next, at the top of page 116, children like Dorothy could have even played with factory-made toys, cars, and trains. Okay, so these toys were maybe made in a factory. The girls in Dorothy's time wore dresses with long white stockings. That means like kind of high high socks, right? Tall socks. Girls often liked to wear their hair in thick curls, sometimes tied with wide ribbons. Boys often wore baggy pants that stopped at the knees or sailor suits, which were very popular. Okay, so this kind of just talks about what kids in this time were doing. And if you notice the pictures, right, the teddy bears and the picture on page 116 here is not in color, it's in black and white. Okay, so maybe if you ask mom and dad, they can tell you, you know, a time when pictures weren't in color yet. Okay, and that might give you a clue as to when Dorothy was kind of alive and what she was talking about. So, in regards to on the paper talking about the questions, I'm going to tell you these 2 questions and maybe give you a little clue where you can find the answer here in our story. Okay, so question 1 I want you to do, and this is just me reading it out, and this is on your schedule. Question 1 I want you to do is, in Dorothy's day, which means during her time, right, when she was alive, where did many poor children work? Okay, back then children had to work. A lot of them, like it said in the story, only the rich kids could maybe afford to go to school. Those that couldn't afford to go to school, they had to go to work. Okay, there were no laws that were stopping children from working. So kids, just like adults, they had to go and work. Okay, and a lot of them worked in certain places that were mentioned maybe in the story. Okay, so look back in the story and find that answer. Now question 2 says, what kind of school supplies did children use? Right, so we have our school supplies that we use all the time, right? Our books, papers, pencils, notebooks, journals of some kind, right? Like our science journal, markers, pens, crayons, all those things. What kind of school supplies did children use in Dorothy's time? Okay, and that's also in the story here. Okay, and that's kind of all for our story for today, for Wednesday anyway. Okay, and so you'll look on your schedule for the next one for Thursday, and then the next one for Friday. And I think that's this one, and then Thursday will be the last time that you do this kind of jumping around. And then you'll go back and read, starting with regular stories, going from the beginning of the book to kind of toward the end of the book. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed this. This is new for me, so bear with me and hopefully I'll get better. But I hope you guys all enjoyed. I hope this helped you a little bit and you followed along with me on the story, and hopefully I gave you some clues for the questions. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and please look forward to our Zoom lesson or our Zoom chat coming up here on Thursday. I'm really excited to see you guys in live and you know, almost in person. So I hope to see you all then. Okay, and have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye-bye.